sure people can have access to it a little bit later. My name is DJ. I have been on Touchpix support for a little over 3 years now. You can catch me on the support chats. Typically, I'm on a few days a week, and we also do webinars in English and Spanish. Today, we have a jam-packed agenda. I'm going to let my co-host Julian introduce himself. I know he's on the call. So, Julian.
Hey, DJ. Good evening. Good evening to everyone. My name is Julian. I'm from Mexico. I've been with Touchpix for more than a year, almost a year and a half. And also I do the chat support and also in the group. And like DJ say, we are partners in crime. So we do the webinars in Spanish and English. So nice to be here with you.
Thank you, Julian. So yeah, we have a jam-packed agenda in the sense of we're trying to really up our game with Touchpix and the app that we're supporting. If you notice, there's been a lot of difference in several different areas, including the sub-menu, some of the features, some of the setup process. I believe it's kind of improving. This is kind of what you guys are paying for. You guys are paying for not only the subscription, the free webinar classes that are included to train you, the free YouTube support, but the ability for the app to help you grow. So this app has now grown tremendously. It started as a photo booth app that transitioned into a 360 based app. It took off with the 360. And now we're kind of leaning back into features that are a little bit more advanced, a little bit more of a professional setting for you guys to be able to not only explore, but use it for your events. It's going to highlight a lot of good features. And we're very excited for what this app has to offer in these coming weeks. And I think as our trade show gets a little closer, because we will be exhibiting in London for the Photo Booth Expo London for the first time this year, this next coming month, I think we're going to have a lot more releases to be able to share with you guys some of the new features and some of the new stuff that we have with Touchpix. I'm assuming you guys are on the call because you guys wanted to see some of the new features and the video effects. You guys wanted to explore what are we offering now with Touchpix, and I'm very excited to explain that. We do have a small intimate group today, which is great. It gives us more time for dialogue, questions and answers. Please use the chat if you do have some questions. Unless it's a pressing question, raise your hand, you'll be called on, and let's get to it, okay? So I'm assuming that a lot of you guys know how to use Touchpix already. Setting up the event, right, from the web interface. If you don't know how to do that, I'm just going to go through a real brief just to kind of give some maybe new faces, some refreshers. You guys are able to see my screen here. I'm going to go over to touchpix.com. This is our homepage. Everything's kind of controlled via web page. If you don't have an account, you're just going to register for an account. But once you do have an account, what we recommend is you log in with your Apple ID associated to your phone. I'm going to go over a couple plans real quick, and then we're going to jump into the video effects. But one of the plans we offer now, it's here on the shop icon. We offer these that are called dual pass subscriptions. The dual pass subscriptions are basically able to be used with any iPad, any iPhone that's capable of using the iOS operating system 16 and above. And you're also going to be able to use a subscription with Android. Any Android device that's able to use the Android operating system 13 and above, right? In order for you guys to take fully advantage of the Android, you have to use some decent powered Android phones. None of the entry-level stuff will work great with Touchpix. You might run into hiccups, but if you have, for example, there's a lot of brands. There's the LG brand, there's the Samsung brand, the S21, S22, S23, the tablet, the S8. Those work wonderful. with Touchpix. Some other Android brands are also able to be used. When in doubt, shoot us a text in the support. You notice that our webpage now, we switched over from phone support a while back, and we have a chat support. So just to show you guys live on how that works, I just opened the chat window. Let's see if I get an answer from one of my support agents. I'm just going to go in here and say, what is my first name? DJ, right? It's going to ask you some quick questions. Hello, DJ, provide an email address. I'm going to go ahead and input my Touchpix email address. This is my personal Touchpix subscription, right? It collects some information. That way what's the contact number? I'm going to go ahead and just provide a contact number that I have. Give me 1 second here. I'll use this number here, my business line. And what language? So we offer support not only in English, we offer support in Spanish, we offer support in Portuguese. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and hit English, right? It says, how can you assist me today? Say I'm having an issue with, maybe I'm having an issue with an overlay, maybe, or adding video effects, because that's what we're going to be covering. So as you can see, one of my colleagues, Pablo, is already hitting me up in support. And I'm just going to let him know, hey, Pablo, it's DJ with the webinar, showing our customers how fast support is. So he's probably going to respond. And, anytime you guys have any issue, come to the chat and you will get taken care of, whether it's a connection issue, whether it's a overlay issue, whether it's you forgot how to set up a certain artwork to a certain event. We'll walk you through. In this event, I'm just going to say, we're ready to answer as fast as a bullet. So I appreciate Pablo. He's a great help. So I'm just going to throw a random question out there, right? Just so you can see that our support is live. There's somebody behind there, and you're going to be helped out no matter what time of the day it is. This is the near 24-hour support. Let me see how to add. Let's do a video effect to slow motion. I want to speed up the video and slow it down. Let's see what Pablo gives me and see if he gives me a timely answer. But this is our support chat. This is what we transitioned to. This is super helpful, many different languages. It's super, super fast, knowledgeable guys on the other side of the keyboard. Often you'll get me, often you'll get Julian, often you'll get Charles, better known as Jessica. Often you'll get Tia. You'll get a lot of us on the support. Just, we ask you to be patient sometimes during the weekend because we do get a lot, but we have over 20 support agents helping out. So you will get somebody that's knowledgeable. If there's something that can't be solved, always feel free to reach out. I think I always provide my email address here on the webinar. Julian does as well. Feel free to reach out. We'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Obviously, some of us don't work for the company 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So if you do send out an email, just expect it to be returned as quickly as possible. So as you can tell, Pablo, he is breaking down where the areas are. I have two different effects for slow-mo timing, speed up. Both of them are added from the video effects tab. You can find tapping on the top left corner of the menu of your event and then the settings. Great, that's all I need to know. And I'll show you guys what he means. I'm just gonna say thank you for your help. You've been great. Just because I want to free them up, right? And I'm going to show you exactly where he gave that explanation. Sometimes we're able to provide screen capture shots to better explain some of the stuff. And you'll always get a polite answer. You'll always get somebody willing to help you. But like I indicated, this is there. This is a great tool. It's right on our website, and we'll go from there. So what I want to show you is what he explained. I'm going to go ahead and do a screen mirror. That way you guys know exactly what we're talking about here. So screen mirror, and I'm going to see if you guys can see my Touchpix account. And we're going to dive into some of the video effects. Let me know if you guys are able to see this. Right now we switched over to my iPhone, and I'm going to open up the Touchpix app. So what he said is go to the settings tab, which is the top left, right? Hit settings. And he wanted me to go into the video effects tab, which is here. And this is probably going to look new for a lot of you people that are used to seeing the older version of Touchpix. We've made it more what I call professional grade, right? Before it was awesome, you can navigate around it, but we want more control. But before I go into that, I want to explain a couple things. This is our new video effects window. Our new video effects window is very similar to our old one. It just has more visual effects where you're actually going to be able to see your timeline. So this whole line here represents your timeline. Represents your timeline as we go on, and the more videos you, the more effects you add, your timeline's either going to shrink or get bigger. So what I told Pablo is I wanted to know how to do the slow effect and speed up effect. So he told me to go video effects. If I'm using slow-mo, it's very important that you select slow-mo right here on the top right-hand side. You'll see where it says slow-mo, because you can now use video effects for the regular video format, for the boomerang format, or the GIF format, because those are all types of videos. But if you're doing 360 slow motion on your spinner, select your slow-mo, right? So from here, you can go and do a couple different things. So one of the great updates with our video effects now is simple, right? Before, when you would add your own music, it would actually take up one of your effects. Before, we would give you about 3 or 4 effects to choose from, but music will always count as one. Now music is independent. It's not going to count as one of your effects, so you don't have to worry about, having limited effects to add, but you can always choose your music track, and it'll give you a couple choices. For this reason, we're going to add a music track. I'm going to go ahead and hit add, and it's telling me if I wanted to add one for my phone, right? And if I hit the drop down, it's still giving you options. If I wanted to add one for my phone, I'd leave it under audio, right? If I still wanted to use the jukebox effect, I'd select jukebox, which now it will let me choose 3 different tracks. Or if I wanted to use some of the free music that Touchpix gives you, that's copyright royalty free, I would hit music, and it's going to give you a prompt that it's going to download some music tracks if you haven't done so already. It'll do it really quick, and it's going to give you about 14 different tracks that you can choose from, maybe 15 now. And I'll wait for it to download. And I should have some music tracks uploaded soon, pending that my internet connection is solid. Let's do it. So there we go. These are the music tracks that I have downloaded here. They're numbered, they're not labeled, but if we find it that it's easier for you to kind of go through them. If you click on them, you can listen to them, right? And you'll be able to listen to them as you go, and pick whatever track really, is to your liking. If I wanted to add a personal track for my music collection, right? What I'm going to do is go back to audio, and it's asking me where I want, it's asking me to choose file. And in my case, I'm going to hit choose file. I usually have some music tracks here on my phone. Here it is. There's one that's called Sun and Rainbow, and it already picked my music track. And that's pretty much it. It's loading it onto the timeline. So now you see the music track loaded to the timeline, and you get a visual effect of where that track is. So now I want you guys to pay attention, because now we start the more advanced features, right? This is a great visual effect because now we can control our transition. Depending on what effect you want, I want you guys to understand that this wave graph here, the larger wave graphs, are where the music comes in at its loudest point. When it starts coning down and going into a small little graph, that's when the music is hitting its lower points. So if you want your transitions to happen at a certain high point, you want to make sure you add your transitions there. So a lot of you might be looking at this graph and say, hey, DJ, well, why do I see slow-mo timing one half and slow-mo timing on the second half, right? So you will see that slow-mo timing on both sides if you use the slow-mo boomerang effect, meaning the effect that makes your slow motion record forward and it makes it bounce back. What you're literally doing is mirroring this, indicating that this effect is happening here, but is also going to be happening on the opposite side once it hits reverse. And it's telling me with the music track right now with my specific settings, it's 18 seconds, but it's also giving me the opportunity where to add my slow-mo timing. If you look at this timeline down here, it now has percentages. So if I wanted to add slow-mo timing and move it around, you are free to do so, right? So you can do it in multiple different areas. What you can do now is if you want to control this, right now it's set to default. What you can do is hit add new effect. Oops, I'm gonna hit and cancel. Add new effect, it lets you pick 6. It has a lot of new effects in here, and you can definitely go through them when you have a little bit more time. But in this case, we're gonna add slow-mo timing. That's what we're looking for. Slow-mo timing. Let's find you. And did I pass it? There it is. I'm gonna hit done. And once I hit done, it's applying it over to the main graph. But now this line here in the middle, right below where it says slow-mo timing, you're able to control where you want that slow-mo timing, right? So this whole line represents your video in totality. This 2 points represent where that effect is going to be applied. So you can add your slow-mo timing in the beginning if you want by moving those 2 points. That's where it's adding the slow-mo timing, right? And say now I wanted to add the speed up effect, right? So if I wanted to add the speed up effect, I'm going to hit add new effect. I'm going to go look for the speed up effect. That way, here we go. Let's go to speed up. I'm going to hit done. And now you're going to see another bar graph down here, or another timeline. And right now, if I leave it the way it is, it's going to play the speed up effect and the entire video. I don't want that. I want the speed up effect to begin maybe right after the slow-mo timing. Maybe I want to, add it there to maybe I want to do between 26 to 39%. As you can tell, every time I add an effect, my length is gonna change. And if I wanted to add another effect, remember, now you can add up to 6 of them, right? So let's go one more slow-mo timing, right? So you can go from slow to fast to normal to, again, slow, right? So that's what I want to do. So, okay, so in this case, I'm gonna let's use the jump cut effect, right? I'm gonna use the jump cut for about a second. And what you can do with the jump cut effect is now you can use it where you want the jump cut to happen. And I'm gonna add it towards the middle of the video. And now I'm using 3 effects, right? If I scroll up, you're gonna see where my video ends up being. You can keep adding more effects if you want, but now you can visually see where these effects are going to take place. So by you altering your timeline, where you want your effect to start, you are going to be able to determine if it's the right look for you, right? So you can go ahead and play with the preview. Nothing else has changed. You can still add your post roll. You can still add your pre-roll at the beginning if that's what you want. Or you can still add an animated overlay on top of everything. And to add the animated overlay, you simply would go add new effect, right? And for the animated overlay, you can do a overlay alpha in full length, right? So got to determine now, since I picked overlay alpha, you got to determine where the file is by hitting the dots. And in this case, I'm not too sure what kind of template is preloaded, but let's go with, let's see if I have something here for you guys. That is overlay alpha. I'm not sure which one I'm using, to be honest with you. Let's see if it's using a portrait one. Let's try to use this one here. I'm calling it Nerdville, right? So my overlay alpha will be added. And now if I go up to I go up here, I can see that it's 12 seconds. Maybe I want it a little longer, right? So if I want it a little longer, I'm just going to increase my slow-mo timing, making sure that the speed up doesn't conflict, right? Well, I'll use that. Now it's 16 seconds. So you can play with it, right? Obviously, if you increase slow-mo timing, you'll get a longer video. Make sure the speed up is not so different. But say that's kind of what I want to do, right? Say that's my design. I want to add a post roll. That's your outro video. In this case, I'm adding this outro video, and now it increased it over to a 22-second video, right? So we're going to do a quick little test here just to see how that looks and kind of go from there. I have 2 experiences loaded, right? And I'm going to hit slow-mo. So I'm just going to, I could already tell that I have the wrong template loaded, so that overlay alpha is going to look funky because it looks like I have a landscape style template loaded. But let's see what it does. Everything works great if you're using your iPhone 12 and above, or even 11, I think works great. 11, 12, 13. So a couple of things. I used the wrong template. Let me go correct that, right? So what I'm going to do, the first thing I noticed is that I had it in medium quality because I just reinstalled a version of the app. And what I'm going to do is go over to subsection 1, and I'm going to go ahead and hit ultra high quality. I'm going to remove the compression, right? That way it's the raw file. I want to go back into the video effects. I'm going to go look at the overlay alpha. I'm going to delete the overlay alpha because it's the wrong size. And then I'm going to load it with the correct one, just so you can see how easy it is to make the adjustments. I'm going to add new effect. I'm going to go down to overlay alpha, full length, hit done. Overlay alpha is right in here. Hit the dots, choose the file. I'm going to pick a file that is more landscape. Hopefully I have something in here. Let's see. Let's try to use this one here. This might work here. Confirming it. Now let's try it one more time without the compression. Let's go slow-mo. Here we go. I'm just going to record some random stuff here. and it should show you what the overlay alpha looks like now with its correct format. The only thing that's going to look funky now that I didn't switch is the outro video, because it's a vertical outro video, but you'll get the idea. You can see that it's still super fast despite me adding 4 different effects. So that still kind of gave me the wrong, my outro, my animated overlay is still the wrong size, but it gives you an idea of how flexible you have. I can go back into Touchpix and switch things around to pick the right overlay, but it gives you an idea of how it works, how to extend, how to add more effects. You can add up to 6, not counting audio, and how to load your post roll, your speed up effect, maybe a jump cut or 2. So it has tons of new features. Anybody have any questions so far on what I've shown, or want me to slow down, or want me to explain something regarding the new video effects editor?
I just needed to know. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'll go. I just want to ask regarding the overlay alpha. Is there a certain type of file that has to go with that as opposed to the overlay black?
Yeah, the old overlay alpha is different. The overlay alpha is only created in Adobe After Effects or Adobe Animate, and it's called, it carries the overlay transparency. It's an HE, what is
IC,
one?
HEIC?
I'll tell you exactly what it is because I was just in there right now. Let's see, I forget the acronym real quick. Let me just go find it.
I think it's HEVC.
HEVC, that sounds correct. So you can, yeah, it's HEVC. If you look at it here, I have one right here. And those are created within After Effects or Adobe Animate, any video editing software that's able to have carry over the transparency. Overlay black is really not recommended. It's something that we started with, but what happens is with overlay black, you're keying out the black. So everything that is black is going to wash it out. The overlay alpha, you're able to maintain the full color spectrum, right? There's actually a website. If you go to boothmotion.com, you're able to buy overlay alpha templates.
What's the name of it again?
Yeah, so it's boothmotion.com. You're able to buy templates that are overlay alpha. You can edit them, and they're already Touchpix ready.
Gotcha. All right, thanks.
No problem. Any further questions? I know there was somebody else that had a question.
So I was just wondering, seem like I feel like I'm like way behind on what the heck is going on, and I do be doing events, but I was wondering, like, I'm still like behind the time. So is all of this like something I need to be doing right now because I have events coming up, or is this just additional stuff that we can use?
Yeah, this is all additional stuff that you can use. If you're used to using Touchpix with the default settings, just continue using it with the default settings. That'll work fine. This is just
but I
more
still just want to learn how to upgrade and do all kind of stuff with it.
Yeah,
but you know, it's just taking me a little bit longer.
No worries. When you're ready, you can always revisit these webinars. That's the beauty of these. These are recorded, they're uploaded to YouTube. And when you're ready to learn, you can just go ahead and rewatch it and make sure you just follow along or reach out to us via support and we'll help you along. But yeah, you don't need to do none of this.
Okay, I have another question. I had seen a message where it said upload the iOS to 2.2.
No, that is our iOS. It's your operating system. I'll show you on your phone. So this is kind of the two things that you want to watch out for, right? So every time we tell you to be on the latest, if you go to
Mhm.
your general settings here on your iPhone, right? And then you go over to general and you go to software update, it'll check where you need to
Right,
be. And
right.
in this case, I need to be on 16.6. Okay, that's the
Okay,
latest update. So
okay.
make sure you're there. The
Yeah,
other
I am.
the other important thing that you want to also look out for is the Touchpix app itself, right? Make sure
Uh-huh.
you're on the latest version. So by making sure you're on the latest version first, see which version you're on right now by clicking the 3 lines here. Right at the
What?
bottom, it'll tell you it's 4.57.4, right?
Okay, yeah.
Mine might be different because I'm using a developer version of the app right now that's
Uh-huh.
only accessible to me. Yours might be a little different. Okay, so this may be a number that you might not exist yet for you, but it's coming. I might
Okay,
have something that I'm using because this is the version that I'm using now. It's not from the App Store. I'm using a developer version that I
okay,
get to
got it.
test. But every
So
time we sit,
is there a
yeah,
certain number that I should be looking? You're talking about that number at the bottom on the online, correct?
exactly. Your best bet is to go into your app store
Uh-huh.
and
I
and
I deleted it off and then I
yeah,
read it back
exactly.
in.
That's probably the best way. I recommend to do it
Okay,
that way. So
okay,
go into the app store, look for Touchpix, and if you're not on the latest version, typically once you look for Touchpix, it'll tell you to either update, right?
okay,
And in this case, it has a download section, meaning that I don't have the version that's on my phone is not the latest one because I'm using a developer one right now.
okay.
Okay.
I already I took it off and re-put it back in when I seen Tia's message because I didn't know what they was talking about, but I just was like, I'm gonna just delete it off and bring it back up.
Yeah, and that's usually the safest way to do it. And smart, always do this before events, right? Because we
Mm-hmm.
get a lot of people trying to do it at the actual event, and it may create some issues because they might have already started their event. And
Right,
now they're gonna, if they do that at an actual event, they may lose
right.
their content by deleting and reinstalling.
Right. So a quick question, another one. I'm sorry, not meaning to take up a lot of time. Were you gonna go over tonight how you do the photo with the 360?
I mean, I can
Or no?
explain it. I can explain it briefly, but let me get
Okay.
through this
Okay.
segment and then we'll get there.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions regarding our video effects creator? Does that seem pretty easy for people? I know a lot of people don't like the change in the sense of they're used to their workflow, but to me, this looks a little bit more professional. It tells me exactly precisely where the effects are being added. You can have that visual effect telling you where everything's at. But again, it's more of a preference. And I think a lot of video editing software, if you use video editing software, it kind of looks similar. So you'll be used to the workflow at least. Does that
DJ,
make
I got a
sense?
quick question.
Sure.
I like this effects that you're doing with the timeline and everything, but is there a way that Touchpix will one day have a preview that you can see it instead of like moving your phone around the room? Like maybe like a person on there that you could.
Well, there is yeah, I think that may be something we've talked about that. I think the development team hasn't really ironed out the details to see if that's possible or not. I think the preview of the effects we've had, but sometimes for me specifically, it's easier to do just a test recording than hitting the preview button, right? Because I want to see how it looks with my overlay, with my outro clip. And if you just hit preview effects, it might just preview just the actual effects that you're using without anything else.
Well, I'm talking about like with a fake person in there.
Yeah, like I mentioned, yeah, I understood that's what you asked.
Uh-huh.
And right now it's not possible. I'm not going to rule it out. We have talked about that in the past, and maybe we can circle back and discuss to see if that's possible.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have questions with regarding the video effects section?
Yeah, I got one quick question, DJ.
Sure.
You know how far as all the other new effects, is there a way, or will you guys be doing a webinar where some of those effects are previewed, where we can see how they would actually look on the video?
Yeah, so I mean, we can do some of those previews. Is there like a specific one that you were thinking of?
Well, I haven't been on. I missed several webinars, but I was just looking at the one like the quick jump or whatever.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So you want like an actual video with of some content where people are actually on the platform. That way you can see how it looks, right?
I think I was muted a second. I don't know if you heard me.
No, I did hear you. You wanted to see the actual effect like in its real content,
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
yeah. So we can actually work on maybe having a webinar similar to that. I think it just takes a little bit of preparation on our end to be able to put up a platform. And I think, you know what we'll do? I think now that I have this, we're going to be doing a show pretty soon this coming month. And I think that's a good opportunity for us to start recording not only the person on the platform, but recording some of the presets, right? That we
Yes.
have. That way you guys can see the effects kind of
DJ.
live in action.
DJ, seems that we are going to have an updated previews of all the effects in the maybe in YouTube, or maybe we will have a gallery. Okay, this is something that is cooking. So it's not going to be in the app, but it's going to be in the website. Okay, or maybe in a YouTube video. So
Yeah.
you can easily watch what every effect is doing on the actual video.
Yeah.
Hey guys, quick question. Isn't that already available on YouTube with the current effects that are
Yeah,
available?
we have one, but you know, since we add some effects that are brand new, we need to update it because there's effects like you will see the one of the newest that we have is the character reveal is not in that video because that effect is brand new. So we need to update it. Okay.
Yeah, I think that this is some conversations we've been having behind the scenes with the development team, and I think what people want to see is like a visual effect of somebody on the platform, what that effect looks like. That way they can see if that's something they want to use, and it has more of a visual meaning to like, all right, I know what they're using. This is what I want to kind of use my 360 with, and that's something that I think it's still to come, right? So we're not saying it's not going to happen. We need to dial it in, but we're working on so many different areas that we're trying to improve the app for the upcoming shows, for you guys to be stable, for the Android device to be able to use a lot of these effects too. But we're also paying attention to the photo booth side because we see a lot of users now not only expand from 360 use, but now they're expanding onto the photo booth side, which is great because it means that they're they're either using the subscription for 360, but they're also capitalizing on the photo booth side where they can collect some more money. Any other questions regarding the video effects? I just want to make sure that you guys fully understood now, the use of video effects for slow motion. But again, I want to remind you that you can also use them with video, boomerangs, and GIFs. You just have to toggle it away from slow motion. If you want it on your boomerang, make sure it's on boomerang, make sure it's on GIF. A lot of people make the mistake and load these effects on video thinking it's going to come out under slow motion. If you want it on slow motion, make sure slow motion is highlighted, right? But now we indicated that there's more effects coming out. You're able to load more. Overlay alpha still works. And pretty soon you'll be able to save your effects, or you're able to save your effects and then load your preset. If you see the load preset button down here, you can do, you could do a variety of presets that you may have wanted. And now it's giving you, like in this case, it gives me a fade, collage, disco, and a couple of other effects. So these are all presets already. So once
Is
you
that on
have,
the slow-mo?
that is on slow-mo, correct? Yeah. So just know that we're working, we all have presets. Like if there's a there's an event that you really, really liked, right? And you're like, man, I forgot where I had those settings. Instead of having to manually set the sliders, you'll be able to save it as a preset pretty soon, and you'll load it up as a preset, and away you go. So I think that's a cool tool to have in the event that you have certain settings or a certain look that you want.
Mm.
That's pretty cool, right? We have a lot of more info coming out as well with you know, the artificial intelligence. We can explain that as probably in the next webinars to come, because we're still going to release some more effects. But the important part is that the video effects is now changed. I was expecting a huge weekend last weekend with people calling because it's been out for a little over a week now. People struggling with the new video effects editor, but it sounded and it looked like a lot of people adapt. A lot of people figured out how to use it. A lot of people, it made sense to them. So I'm pretty happy that that's not a big issue, because sometimes when there's changes, it creates a little bit of a panic, especially people that are setting up for their events like an hour before the event happens. I think that
Right.
creates somewhat
So
of a
are you
panic.
are you gonna kind of go over that, the video effect, or no?
The video effect, like
I guess I'm getting kind of like confused. Like I have it down packed, like as far as setting my event up, I normally test and everything. My event is like a week away, but I'm gonna start testing probably tomorrow. But I'm just like kind of like I feel like right now, like I'm all over because I don't know what the heck is going on.
yeah, don't feel
And I just
overwhelmed.
and I just
This
did I just
don't
did an event a couple of weeks ago, and now I feel like I'm hyperventilating because I'm like,
no. This
going away.
this again, this is optional for you. If you work off the default settings and those work
Uh-huh.
great for you, there's no need for you to dive into and start messing with the settings unless you're looking for a specific look. This is just giving you more creative control. Maybe, you know, the default settings work great for about more than 50% of the users, and that's fine.
But I
Don't feel
still
like
want to
you,
learn all this. I
yeah,
still
and
want
I'm not,
to and
and I'm
have
not,
use of it.
and I'm not saying you shouldn't. What I'm saying is that when you're ready, you should revisit this webinar, take your
Hmm.
time, and take it a step at a time. That's
Okay.
all it is. Yeah, you don't have to use any of this, but it's available for you. And it'll change the look of your output tremendously, I think, because you'll have more control of when you want the slow motion to start, when you
Hmm.
want the slow motion to end, and any other effect that you may want to add into it, right?
Got it.
You're able to fully control that.
DJ Duke, is there a way to make my slow-mo speed up?
Yeah. And so if you let me start fresh, okay? Because that'll kind of
Mhm.
give you a good timeline. I'm just gonna exit out all of these effects.
You know, so say
Yeah,
I'm sticking with default, and all I'm wanting to know
for
is there
sure.
a way to make default speed up?
Yeah. So if you're sticking with default, you're gonna be looking at something like this screen here, right? Where it has your default slow-mo speed. So now you
Uh-huh.
just want it to speed up. All you do is you come down here where it says add new effect, and then you look for the speed up effect, right?
Uh-huh.
And once you find that speed up effect, you're going to select it by hitting done.
Hmm.
Now you're going to see this blue line here. You don't want the speed up effect to be on the entire video.
Right. Right.
If you're visually looking at this graph here, it's telling you that slow-mo is from 33% to 66%. Maybe your speed up effect, you're going to want it from 67% or 69
Hmm.
to maybe about 87. And that's your
Right.
speed up right there. And you're done.
Right. Right.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is, and you're done. That's all you do to get a speed up effect, right?
Okay. Right.
So it's not difficult. Just add effect, look for the speed up, and make sure you apply it in a small area that you're looking for. And that's pretty
Okay.
much it. That makes sense for a lot of users?
Yes. I
All
did
right.
have one more question.
Sure.
So you know how when you set up, you know how when you're setting up, you first setting up and you're going through and you're doing your create the event,
Mhm.
and then you do your design. And once you do your design, it brings up, what do it bring up? It bring up slow-mo, boomerang, GIF, and seem like one more.
Okay, let's
I,
go there now. Let's go there now. That way you can see it. Let me share
okay,
my screen. And let me see. Let's go. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'm going to exit that. I'm going to go and log in. And I'm going to go into my accounts. I'm just going to fix some of my templates. So I think
okay,
I'm using this event here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit the sprocket, and I'm going to hit edit,
okay,
right? Because I want to edit the event, and it brings you back to the form. So this is the
okay.
form
So this
that I
is after
created.
you done did this. After you done did this, and you go into your
Yeah,
design.
I'm just going to go back
Oh,
in here to just make
okay,
sure all my settings are correct, right?
okay.
So you're talking about photos and slow-mo. That's all I have. I don't have boomerang. I don't have
Oh,
animated GIF, and I don't have
quick,
videos, right?
okay, quick question before we go any further. If I just wanted week before last, I was on here and they were telling us, you were telling us how we can do the photos and the slow-mo,
Yeah,
right?
it's set up for
So,
that now.
right,
So it
so
has
that's
photos and
photo
it
and
has slow-mo.
slow-mo. Okay,
Perfect.
so before that, I was just doing the slow-mo, right? And then at
Mhm.
the end, when it came up to the designer part, it had like a box for slow-mo, boomerang, GIF.
Yeah, I'll show you right now. So let me just do this again.
Okay.
I'm gonna go photos and slow-mo. I'm
Mm-hmm.
enabling the boomerang because I want it to bounce back. And then what
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing is those are my sharing methods. That's fine. I'm just double checking everything. And then everything looking good to me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hit submit. So now I'm gonna go into the designer because now you know that I selected a photo booth experience and I've also
Mm-hmm.
selected a
When
slow motion experience. So I'm
right
gonna go into the designer.
when you enabled the boomerang effect, are you still gonna get the boomerang effect?
Well, there's a yes. I'm gonna get
Okay.
the boomerang effect, meaning boomerang effect on the slow mo. Boomerang as an
Right.
experience up top is different. That's not what I'm doing. The
Okay.
boomerang effect up top by clicking the box when you're setting up your event, it's a photo
Uh-huh.
booth experience. I'm selecting slow mo boomerang for the 360. I'm not
Right.
doing a normal boomerang. Okay,
Right. For the
so
slow-mo, so it'll boomerang back right around.
yes.
Okay.
So now I want to set up the right templates, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna use this template here, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make sure I add it to the right event. So I'm gonna use a blank template because I'm gonna use the overlay alpha again. So I'm just gonna hit a blank template that's in vertical format. I'm gonna hit add to event, and in
This part.
this case I only want it on the slow-mo because that's all I'm using, slow-mo, right? I'm gonna hit
Mm-hmm.
add to event. So it's adding it to that specific event. Then I'm going to go back in here to my templates, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I'm going to go to photo because I need to add the photo experience, right? And usually
Uh-huh.
for the photo experience, if I'm offering photos, I'll either do a vertical template or sometimes I'll do a square. Really depends on what you want to do. But I'm going to do a separate one here just so you guys can see what it looks like. Let me use a square. I'm going to go with the square. Now I'm going to add um, a blank square to the actual event. So it's loading, make sure it continues to load. And I'm going to hit add event, add to event. It's on the same webinar event.
So you
And
added the slow-mo and the photo to that.
correct, to the
Okay.
same. And then I'm going to return to Touchpix, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go to return to Touchpix and they're blank, right? So for me to verify that I did the right one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on the overlay tab,
Uh-huh.
right? And I see a square on the photo,
Yeah.
and then I see a vertical on the slow-mo. So
Okay.
now I know that I'm all good. So now I'm going to share my screen again on my phone. That way you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about.
Got it.
And let's go and share the screen. Here we go. All right, so that's kind of where I'm at here. Let's go into Touchpix. And what I'm gonna do now, because I just made some changes, what I'm gonna
Right.
do is hit refresh event, right? That'll
Uh-huh.
that'll upload the new changes that I made real quick. It already uploaded my changes. So now, if just to give you an example, if I hit photo,
Mm-hmm.
it'll do a square photo, right? So 2, 1, it'll do a square photo, but I want you guys to look at this, right? I'm gonna hit
Mm-hmm.
discard. So that's the square photo. So now, if I wanted to get a little creative and want people to utilize some of the advanced features, maybe I'll do a background gallery, right?
Uh-huh.
The background gallery is like a digital image. I think I used the city of Chicago last time, and I'm just going to go ahead and select that. And it's telling me that it's also going to download some other effects,
Okay.
so people can have, um, their choice of whatever background gallery it is that they're using. So I'm just going to wait. My internet's not the fastest. I'm kind of operating remotely here, but let's give it a second. Hopefully it speeds up. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. This is the way where people can make extra money, right? If
Right.
you're doing a 360 party and the person also wants photos, you can do both. I mean, um, it just really depends on your workflow. When I do this, I typically have the people stand on the platform, and
Uh-huh.
photos will look great because if you have great lighting around your platform, you
Right.
already have almost like a photo booth setup, right? So
Right.
you can take a picture of them, right? Especially with this remove your background feature. And then after the picture is done, you can send it to your printers, send it digitally, and then do a 360 session all in a matter of seconds.
What do you
It really,
mean that remove the background feature?
you'll see right now once it's done loading, because this
Uh-huh.
is what I'm going to do is take a picture,
Uh-huh.
and instead of my ugly table, it'll have a background that you're able to pick, right?
Okay.
And it'll see that's how it'll look. You see
Okay.
that? So
Yeah.
that's the picture that it'll take. But if I want the city of Chicago, I pick the first one. If I
Uh-huh.
want any of these other backgrounds, maybe for Halloween or whatever, you see that?
Okay. Yeah.
You see that?
Oh, you just putting it in the background of the
Yep,
person.
that's it.
And are
But
you able to
but in
send that to their phone?
exactly, you're able to share it the same exact way, right?
Got
So
it.
this is an awesome feature because you no longer can see the platform behind them. If you want to just send them a nice
Right.
high quality picture, you can
So,
actually you can upload your own background images as well. It doesn't have to be any of these, but
okay. So I
uh,
have an image. So I'm doing a class reunion, and I put a overlay from Canva. I did it on Canva and I uploaded it so that I can have like the class of 83. And I was wondering, would that show if I put
not as a background unless you have
not a
specific.
background, I wanted it to be in like an overlay that covered up the front part, if
Yeah,
that makes
you can do that. You can do that, but you have to make that overlay transparent. Remember,
I
the
did.
overlay needs to be transparent where the picture is
Yes.
going to come out and you're just going to have it in front of the photo. So yes, it'll
Okay.
work.
Got it. Okay, I did. Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of what I was going to show you. It has this is a brand new feature that I think works. It works
Okay.
well. It works well. And
And
I
that's for the
highly,
background.
exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. So just so you guys can see, I mean, I've used this recently at some of my just some quick events that I've done, and it's really generated a lot of interest, and I've actually gotten some bookings on that.
A quick
Based on
question. I'm
that.
sorry
Yeah.
for cutting you
Go,
off.
go ahead.
Okay, so with this function feature effect, do you have to use the remove background feature with this?
The background effect, you'd have to hit background gallery. You can use remove background, but remove background just for one image at this time, right? The background gallery will give you options, right? So
So it'll do everything. Just choose whichever background, it'll do
ex-
everything from there.
exactly. So I'm going to give
Gotcha.
you just a quick example of something that let me see, something that I can show you here. Let's see. So just so you guys can see this, I mean, probably just because I want to let you guys know that this event, this is what I really had as a background, right? I had an ugly wall here, right? That's not flattering at all, right? But once it does your background removal, this was kind of a little car
Can't
show
see
that
it, DJ.
okay. Let me show you real quick then. Give me a sec. So I did an event where, can you see it now? This was the ugly wall in the back, right?
Yes,
Just
sir.
regular photo booth. And with the digital image, yeah, it was kind of a car show event. You guys can see now that, I put some digital cars back there. And a lot of this digital cars back there, all I really had behind me was the wall. This was what people would see, but the output would be this high quality output, right? And it's all done from Touchpix. You can print these on the fly and away you go. So it just kind of gives you an idea, right, of how great some of the stuff works, right? And it makes it look like you're at a car show. All of this was done digitally. So, whether you have an iPad, DSLR booth, you have Touchpix as a subscription. We're giving you more tools so you can make more money. Why not be able to do this and just kind of wow your clients, right? So it just kind of gives you some ideas. That's all. Any other questions regarding this or the timeline? Anything that you guys want to know?
I have a question about the overlays.
Sure.
So I have someone that wants to use 2 overlays. Can I just add the overlays in the app instead of going to the designer and switching them out?
In
So
the
can I
app,
just do it on the Touchpix app? Like, say for instance, for like 2 hours, I'm going to use one overlay, then I want to swap it to the next overlay. Can I do it on the app?
that is a great question. Let me see if you're able to do it. I believe you
Yeah,
are.
DJ, yeah, we can do it. Actually, we can do it. There's an effect that is called overlay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
Let's
okay.
go
so
get it.
you need to create the template in the designer on the website.
Right. Yep.
Okay. And load all the designs that you want to use in your phone or your iPad, but this only works in video, okay? Only in video.
Okay, so I can't. Okay, all right. So video or slow-mo?
Yeah, that's the only one. Maybe
Slow-mo.
we
Okay,
can
all right, cool.
we can suggest to the people to try to add it, for photos also, because it's almost the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, because I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. And I was looking. Yeah, see how
That's
there's so
one.
many
Overlay full length.
overlays.
Is the first one, DJ?
This one here?
Yeah, the full length.
Full length
Okay,
overlay.
it's that one.
Yeah, so I have never used it that way, but I know you were able to. I'm waiting for the feature
Mm-hmm.
where it lets you use it for photos as well. I think that'd be
Mm-hmm.
pretty great. Once you use it for
Right.
photos, the idea is also you have to make sure that you're loading the right size overlay, on the web browser, because you're letting the app know which size you're using. So that's kind of the important part as well, right? Because we
Right.
have
So
vertical,
where it says full length,
where it says what?
does that matter? So you see where it says overlay full length? If I have if I'm using the landscape overlay, would it still work or would it
No,
just be
yes,
like
yes.
This is for the
the
timing only.
portrait mode?
No,
This is
yeah,
for the
that's for
timing.
correct. So that doesn't mean
Okay.
full length like vertical. It just means it's going to be added to the entire video.
Understood. Okay,
Yeah,
got it. Understood. Thank you.
no
Hey,
problem.
DJ,
Yeah,
I want to, and I don't know if the young lady was saying the same, what I'm saying, but like me, I use 2 phones, right? And once I set up the event, I put the overlay, the effects, and then I scan that barcode, right?
Yeah,
and then I'll go back into the event, and I'll go back and edit it, and then I'll delete the overlays that I had on there and add different overlays. And then I'll scan the second phone with the same barcode, and both overlays and the music, everything both play differently. It has like two different overlays, effects, and everything.
got it. So you're using two different phones, but are you creating separate events or is it on the same event?
It's on the same event. And when I once I put in the overlay and the effects and everything, and then I scan the barcode,
Oh, I see what
the
you're
QR
doing.
code. When I
Yeah,
scan the
yeah, I
QR
see, I
code,
see, I see what you're doing. So yeah,
and then
so
I'll go back and edit it.
yeah, I see what you're doing. So ultimately, your web gallery is going to have the same event with
Ex-
two different overlays and two different music tracks.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and both phones sync to the iPad, um, as each video is done.
got it. Yeah, I see what you're doing. Yeah, if it works for you, go ahead and keep doing it. I just I would be cautious in the event that you hit refresh event on one of them by accident, right? Then
Yeah,
it may create some issues. But
yep,
you
yep.
know, if that workflow, there is no one workflow that is you know, the best. It's whatever works best for you. And then if
Gotcha.
that works great for you, then awesome, keep doing it. But just be careful on that and not hitting refresh event, you know, because that may
Mhm.
bring some unknown
Yeah.
issues.
DJ, I want to add something. I already request kind of to try to use the overlay, the full length, like the background for the photos, so you can actually select the template or the design that you want to apply before you start a session. So I hope that the developers teams, you know, take this request, because I could imagine, for instance, in a match, in uh, football or something, a game that you can support a different team, so you can select a different overlay. So I already asked for it. Let's hope that this is getting soon into Touchpix. Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of creative ways to use it, but yeah, I think there's always a unique ways to use certain overlays. But like I said, there's no one right way. It's whatever works best for you, as long as you fully understand that what your workflow is and how it works, right? And it sounds like all of you guys have been doing a pretty good job with it, you know. Again, you know, these webinars are just designed for us to get together to talk about features, to talk about how the new updates can affect your old workflow, but more importantly, how to support one another and moving forward. At the end of the day, this is your business. We value you as customers, but we also want to show you that we're not just stopping at what it was a year ago, because a year later, Touchpix has expanded in so many different areas and continues to improve upon itself. And you know, we're not done yet. So definitely, we appreciate you guys taking the time and learning a little bit more about some of these features, because it shows us that you're genuinely interested in improving your output or improving your photo booth or 360 services. Anybody have any other questions
Thank you.
regarding?
I do.
Sure.
So I was in the process of thinking about getting a stand-up photo booth. I already have the 360, but I think I'm just having a hard time putting it in my brain how it all come together and work if my business name is as one.
Well,
What if I want to do a stand-up at one place and then a 360 at another where I'm at? And I guess I'm having a hard time trying to figure that out.
well, that's the thing. I think a lot of people, when they gone on with TouchPix,
Mm-hmm.
they were caught up with the 360 frenzy, right?
Uh-huh.
And they named their business something something 360, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter. I mean, you can always. It's always sometimes better to create a different business with a different brand, right? One of them is your 360 brand. The other one might be your photo booth brand, right? Uh, It
So
doesn't.
you're saying that you can't because
You can't.
are-
You could. I mean, you could, but I think what I understood you say is you got a little confused because you're using a 360, and
no, no,
I'm not.
you
Okay. What was it?
misunderstood me.
Okay.
So my thing is because my business is not named 360, it's
Mhm.
S&M Party Supply Rental, but
Oh, okay.
on the end I put featuring the 360 photo booth. But my thing is if I decide to get a stand-up booth and I want to have a stand-up booth at one event and I'm doing a 360 at another event, I think I get confused as to how do I make that work with two iPhones? Like, can that work?
So if you were going to get a stand-up booth
Uh-huh.
for one, you probably wouldn't be using an iPhone per se.
Okay.
You'd probably be looking for an iPad booth, right?
Okay. Right.
So
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 would that still be like, am I still gonna be like going up under Touchpix and
yes,
have two events going at one time? I guess
yes.
that's the question.
Yeah, you can run with Touchpix, you can run 4 or 5 events at the same time, right?
Oh,
Because when you're creating an event, you're naming that specific event. Maybe you're naming it, let's say it's Tanya's wedding. You have
mm-hmm.
that at 2 o'clock. And then
Uh-huh.
now maybe you have like Jessica Sweet 16 at 6 o'clock, right? So
Uh-huh.
you're gonna be naming those events separately under your let me give you a visual. Give me one second here. That way you guys can see. I'll give you a visual. Okay, so I'm gonna go into my account, right? And this account here is giving me, these are the names of my events, right? So typically for an event, you're gonna create it maybe a day or two before, but this was a baptism first birthday party. This was a
Uh-huh.
car show, and this was a barbecue. I could technically, although this wasn't all on the same day, if they could have been. So you're going to categorize the settings for your barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, you're going to know this is my barbecue event.
Uh-huh.
Okay, this other event is going to, you're going to create a separate event. It's going to be my give me a second, this is my battery.
Would we be able to have them all activated at the same time?
You can activate as many events as possible, but you have to have a separate device for them, right?
Oh,
Meaning,
gotcha. Okay.
yeah, so you are able to do it as long as you
Okay.
have a
Let
separate
me write that
device.
down. Let me write that down.
DJ, quick question for you.
Sure.
With the new plan, aren't you only allowed to have 4 active events at one time on your account with the
Well,
dual pass?
if you have the dual pass, yes, that's only on the dual pass, right? But if you have the standard, um, if you have the standard app from the App Store, right, you can activate as many events as possible under your Apple ID. Say all your devices. Say you have 6 iPads, as long as they all have the same Apple ID, you can activate all 6 at the same time.
But what do you need to activate them? Under your
So when you buy an iPad or you have an iPhone,
uh-huh.
right, you're given an Apple ID. So this is what I mean by that.
Right.
Give me 1 second here. I can go back in there. So this is what a lot of people sometimes get confused because I don't think it's explained sometimes as well. Let me go back in here. So in this case, I am going to go into my iPhone here.
Mm-hmm.
So on my iPhone, if you look here under, I name my iPhone, I have them all under one Apple ID. This is my
Okay.
Apple ID right here.
Okay.
As long as, if I were to purchase Touchpix with this iPhone, right, that app
Mm-hmm.
is going to be tied to this Apple ID. Now, if
Right.
I was gonna get, if I was gonna buy another iPad, that's
Mm-hmm.
fine, as long as I keep using the same Apple ID that I made the purchase with. You're gonna
Right.
continue to be able to add on to that subscription, right?
Okay.
So as long as you don't give it a separate email account and you make this, you're making the purchase with one and all your other devices are tied to the same account, you're going to be able to use Touchpix 6, 7 devices all at the same time without any issues. Okay. Now, if you buy Touchpix from the website, you know, that's only going to give you access to 4 different devices at the same time, right?
So
And
you mean if I was to say I was gonna do an event for a week and I got maybe 2 events or 3 events that week and I got 1 stand up and then 2 360s, would I be able to use it all
yeah,
at the same?
exactly. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can use it all the same. As long as you have separate devices for them,
Right.
we can let you know what the recommended subscription would be for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. I was hesitant because I really didn't know how it all worked. And I'm like, that's too many passwords and too many
No,
business
just
names to think.
yeah. So what I would tell people back in the early days of the webinars is register your TouchPix account, register it with a business name
Right,
or a business email address as well, because I know a lot of people use their personal phones and they probably have their personal iClouds tied to them. But you know, as you expand your business, you're probably going to want some help. You're probably going to have some
right,
attendants or some booth operators, and you don't want them to have access to your personal data. So
right,
it's always good to just create a personal iCloud account for your business, right? A separate one from your personal is what I mean. And that
right,
way, when you get to that level when you are hiring help, you're not so concerned of people going into your personal data and accessing some stuff that they shouldn't have access to.
So if I get this stand-up booth, I can just go ahead and buy me my own next iPad and
Mhm.
put in my business under my business Apple ID under that iPad as well. And then I can take that booth and go sit it somewhere. If somebody want a stand-up event, I can sit that somewhere and still continue to do my own 360 event.
Correct, correct. You can do that.
Gotcha. I was so confused on that.
Yeah, yeah, correct.
Gotcha.
Any other questions regarding this? Julian, did you want to add anything? Did I miss anything with the video effects?
No, DJ, you already covered everything. So as you say, we expect that soon we have the preset savings. So if you need to refresh, you can, save your presets, but we don't have any data available for now. So
That's great. Okay.
let's keep waiting a little bit.
Yeah, a little
And
bit longer. I think we're gonna
yeah,
have some specials maybe coming up soon because we do have that show coming up in September. It's mid-September. It's gonna be in the UK, so we may have some discounts for the yearly. You know, just be on the lookout. I just wanted to promote this video effects. That's what we wanted to promote today. Just because it is a different visual effect editor. The other thing is we want to always highlight our website because of the reason that I believe we have pretty awesome support, and I don't think a lot of people know how quickly, you know, somebody logs in using the chat and is able to respond to some of your requests here via the website. So just make sure, you know, if you have any questions and you're stuck, uh, use the chat. It's almost 24 hours a day. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 hours that gets uncovered, but it's the late hours on the US side, which is like early in the morning. Uh, but we offer support English, Spanish, Portuguese, and our support team is growing. We have over 20 people on support, and I think we've done a phenomenal job with that. And you know, I love to answer questions anytime. So you know, if you ever get me as your support agent, say hello. If you ever get Julian as your support agent, say hello. But if there isn't anything else, we just wanted to highlight this video effects. We appreciate your time, and we'll pull up a questionnaire
I
or a different
have
poll on
another
our.
question.
Okay,
Um,
what's the question?
So, do the photos show also on the app? I use Apple TV with my 360 photo booth. So if I'm taking a photo and doing that, the 360 at the same time, does that pull up, does that go over as well?
No, so the way it will work is your 360 and your photo booth event are separate events if you're going to be running them separately, right?
No, no,
So-
no, no, I'm talking about, you know how you said if you have a 360 photo booth, you can take pictures?
If it's on the same event, you mean, like I just
Yes,
created mine?
yes.
Yes, you will see the videos and photos at the same time on the same
Okay,
event. On the
okay,
same
that's
event.
what I was wondering. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha,
So
okay.
yeah, you
And
should be able to see them both.
and so if I was to get another Apple TV and have it also at like a stand-up photo booth place, which I probably wouldn't, but just in case I thought of it, would it run over there?
You can, it'll also run and it'll play, as long as you have it under slideshow,
Yeah,
it'll do a slideshow of all the photos that stand-up photo booth,
then
will
to,
be taken. Yeah, exactly.
okay, all right,
All
okay,
right.
thank you.
With with that being said, if there's no more questions, I want to wish everybody a great night. And we'll be back. We're going to put up a poll in our Facebook group. If there's anything specific you guys want to learn, I know it's tough to cover Touchpix from beginning to end in one session. So this is why we're breaking it down in sections, hoping that it's helpful for a lot of people and you can revisit the videos on YouTube. But if there's anything that people may want to learn about, make sure you post in the group and we're going to do a poll to see what the next topic for our webinar is. So thanks, everybody. Have a great night, and I appreciate you guys being on tonight. Have a
Thank
good
you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.